This is Roy Cannaday from Epic Gaming Night.
And this is Robert Newman from Epic Gaming Night.
And today we're going to be looking at the Beyond the Threshold expansion for Mansions of Madness.
Boom.
Beyond the Threshold adds several new components to your Mansions of Madness game. You get two new characters, Akachi and Wilson, to add with the rest of your investigators. Wilson's very much about brute strength, as he has high strength but low lore, and he also gets to become focused whenever you have to do a horror check. Akachi has strong lore and willpower, so she's very good at casting spells. Her ability also makes it so that game effects can't force you to discard your clue tokens, only when you decide to lose them. There are 4 new Thrall figures, beings that have been twisted by Yog-Shoggoth. They definitely have a different feel than a lot of the other games in Mansions of Madness, having a lot of triggers on the mesmerize condition. But they definitely suffer the same fate as the miniatures in the regular core box. You definitely need to superglue your miniatures to be able to play the game without them falling out. There are 6 new double-sided map tiles, allowing your mansion to have all sorts of new configurations and open up new maps for your game. There are 36 new small cards to add to your Mansions of Madness game. 8 new common items that are weapons and tomes and different things for investigators to find in the mansion. 1 cultist journal unique item that can be used for story narrative purposes. 4 new insanity cards allowing to change up the alternate win conditions when characters go insane, and the new mesmerize condition, which at the end of your turn you're compelled to do something by an alien force, and it can be all sorts of different things. A new poison mist spell that can only attack adjacent areas, and arcane insight that allows you to give another character a clue. There are 7 new NPC characters used for the narrative in the 2 new scenarios. There are 16 new Fire and Darkness tokens and 2 new Wall tokens. There are 9 extra clue tokens and 4 new key tokens, which you can put on items in the game to symbolize their importance, and it makes sure that those items don't get discarded during the scenario because they are important to the narrative. The Mansions of Madness app has been updated with 2 new scenarios that work only with the Beyond the Threshold expansion. Vengeful Impulses, where Thomas Carvey invites you to a dinner party hoping that you can investigate who is trying to have him murdered. And Gates of Silverwood Manor, where Officer Murray is asking you to solve the mystery of people who are disappearing in Silverwood Manor. They're going into the mansion and never coming out. Overall, Beyond the Threshold brings new scenarios and new options for your Mansions of Madness game as your reality is being shifted in a game of Lovecraftian horror.
So that was Beyond the Threshold, the expansion for Mansions of Madness. This adds all sorts of different things, like new tiles, new spells,
characters. There's even a new enemy in this one.
Yeah, the Thralls you get.
2 new scenarios.
How many of the miniatures do you get?
There's 4 Thralls and 2 characters.
Yeah, and depending on the scenario, you can have some Thralls in there.
Yes, and I don't want to give away too much, but they come and go. Like, it's kind of freaky, because at one point there was like, oh, there's nothing. And then there was a lot.
Yeah.
And then there was nothing. So
yeah, we definitely don't want to get too in depth in like the storyline of the different scenarios.
No spoilers or anything like that.
The scenario we were playing, like, it seemed pretty casual, like we're exploring stuff, but it was just like a super creepy vibe. And
oh my gosh, throughout the whole time.
For Lovecraft games, that's one of the things I love about this game is it's so narrative and so thematic that you can like not even be facing any enemies at all, but just like the things you're exploring just creep you out, you know?
Well, that, and now, well, not now, but the app has the music going in the background, and then the narrative that it gives you and all this crazy stuff goes on, and like the house in the area is haunted, but it's not haunted, but you're going crazy, and it's just it's definitely one of those games that if you're like me, you're probably gonna sleep with a light on tonight, or maybe like a little night light or something like that. So
yeah, and the expansion comes with 2 new scenarios, so it gives you more to play. If you add that with the other expansions and with like the DLC, it just adds more options for what you can play. And I think the time frames on it aren't too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, really like the time frame. But one of the things I do want to say about this expansion, the tile work. Like they had on this expansion some of the stairs that went up and down. I thought they did a lot better job on these tiles, showing the depth of going up and down. Like on some of the older Mansions of Madness.
Just like the artwork?
Yeah, well, like it actually showed depth. Where in the other ones, like you would see stairs and you know they were stairs, but these ones, I don't know. To me, it just felt like, oh, okay, like it had that whole distance and depth thing going for it, and so it just seemed like, crap, I'm going into a dark, scary basement, or I'm going into this crazy attic. Why am I going to the attic where all the noise is coming from? So
for sure,
really enjoyed that part of it.
So there's two new spell types. There's the mesmerize condition, which was super weird. Like, it's a card you get, but then at the end of the turn you flip it over and just random things happen to your character. Your character can do all sorts of things.
Either good or bad. I mean, random is the perfect word for that, because
I think the scenario we played, my mesmerize effect on my card is basically what helped us get to like the end of the game. We were super in trouble until I flipped over the mesmerize. I'm like, actually, me being compelled by alien forces is not necessarily always a bad thing.
Oh, and that is the mesmerized. Aliens take over your body, and you have to do whatever they say on the back of the card. Yeah. At least that's what the card says. And so, yeah, a lot of fun. Great card.
But yeah, I like the new characters. They're definitely very interesting. I think they have like really high stats and some really low stats.
And I think they complement each other well. One of them is super strong, and the other one is really good on puzzles and intelligence and lore and other things like that.
They're definitely not like well-rounded, good at everything characters, but they're very like focused ones.
Correct. Yeah, focus. Yeah, that's a good word.
So one's really good at attacking, the other's really good at doing the lore and the willpower
spells
stuff
and knocking all that stuff down.
So awesome, guys. Well, I think it's pretty awesome. What do you think about the expansion overall? Would you recommend?
Absolutely. But that's just because I love Mansions of Madness. It's my favorite game ever. It adds more tiles. It adds more characters, more everything. And so to me, I think it's worth it. And then just the app and everything that it's going for. Like, these are just worth every penny. At least in my opinion. I give it 2 super big thumbs up, or 2 booms, or handsome Rob smiles, or whatever we want to do. I don't know, but I loved it.
The thing I think I love the most about the expansion is it adds more cards and more variety to the game, because the other expansions were bringing over the stuff from first edition. Oh, yeah. This adds a lot more variety in the cards and just opens up like so many more things.
And even some of the items that they added on in the cards were really unique. Like, for example, some of the weapons allowed you to do things and have a secondary action with the weapon, or it wasn't just a weapon. You could do it to actually pass certain tests and things like that. And some of the, like one of the guns, for example, if you use a certain gun, it didn't hit really high. Like, I think its damage was only 2, but when you use the gun, it allowed you to take one of your clues and turn it to an automatic success. And so, just like you said, it was newer stuff, not just a crossover from previous expansions, but all brand new stuff. I really like the direction that Fantasy Flight's
I think for the price point, it's definitely worth the value.
Oh, yeah.
So for us, we definitely recommend.
Boom.
Thanks so much for checking out our review of Beyond the Threshold. Make sure to leave in the comments down below what your favorite investigator to delve into the mansion is. And make sure to hit up mine and Rob's podcast, Epic Gaming Night. And you can find that at epicgamingnight.com and on iTunes. So until next time, we'll see you then.
For watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.